I really do think you can be a lot more efficient in starting things. You don't have to jump all the way in fully. I started Eazy Digital while I was doing consulting company. I have 2 kids I have to take care of, all right? It's not that I can go without an income and just live on whatever I have in my bank account to sustain everything. And a lot of people are in that situation. So a lot of people will be like, yeah, he can say that because he's already exited the company before, so he can start whatever he wants and stuff like that. Fair, you're right. To some extent that is true. Doesn't mean you cannot start a business while working a job. I've known many people who worked in companies full time, but in all of their spare time, instead of spending it, watching football, playing games, or doom scrolling, correct, they are spending on building something on the side. Now, that pretty much means you can do it too.
Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Exponential Show. Today, it is a pleasure of mine to introduce my friend and the CEO and founder of Eazy Digital, Harprem Doowa. Harprem, I really appreciate you taking the time. You've been a bucket list guest of mine for a long, long time, but I'm finally glad I'm here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. Harprem, before we get started, just wanted to shout out our episode sponsor, Aya. So Kevin and the team at Asia Beverages, thank you for sending these cans for Harprem and his team. I'll steal one if you don't mind.
I'm taking one.
Cheers. The thing is that you need to tilt it. So for those of you who don't know, Aya is a brand for good for you and better for you beverages. You can find them in pretty much all big supermarket chains here on Lazada, Shopee, and even in some of your favorite restaurants and hotels across Thailand. So make sure you give them a try. Now, thank you again, Kevin.
That's nice.
Good to know. Cool. So now getting down to business, let's start with the question that we ask all our guests is your superhero origin story. So like serial entrepreneurship is an overused phrase, right? Like everybody's a serial entrepreneur on LinkedIn, but knowing you since your days at frank.co.th and seeing your LinkedIn footprint even before that, I think it's safe to use the word serial entrepreneur with you. So can you walk us through your journey, any key milestones, and what were the series of events that led you to Eazy Digital?
It all started after my MBA. I was supposed to join the family business, but then I realized that if I did, I would always be the kid in the family, no matter how old I was, no matter how much experience I had. So I was like, you know what, let me try going out and doing something on my own first. So I started a wild idea in the pet space, something I had no experience in at all, but interest in. So came up with an idea with a bunch of people I'd never met before at a startup conference, got together, created a team, and started selling pet products online.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Did you have pets?
I did. I mean, I had pets, so I get the basic idea of what pets needed, but selling online, no experience whatsoever. But it was a trend. It was 2012. It was early in the e-commerce days, very, very early, and nobody had done anything like that before. Lazada just started up. Back then, it was still owned by Rocket Internet. There was no Grab. There was Easy Taxi. I don't know if you remember those days. It was very early e-commerce days, and Sogo was still around. Groupon was still alive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very, very early. So started the company, got fundraising, grew it very quickly, expanded into baby products as well, so mother products, as a separate website, not mixed with the same pet website, obviously. And grew that, but it was my first company, so I learned a lot. I also made a lot of mistakes.
Okay.
So by the end of it, I ended up at only a few percentage of the company after all the fundraising and all the mergers and acquisitions that we did. And it sort of felt like it was no longer my company. The board of directors and the rest of the management wanted to go in one direction. I wanted to stick to the direction we were at, which was like a curated marketplace specifically for pet products and baby products. And they decided to go towards and fight head on against Lazada and all the other big guys on the electronics and stuff like that. Not the categories I would have wanted to enter because I felt that was low margin, high volume, yes, but very little defensibility.
Right.
So I left the company. I tendered my resignation, handed everything over to my COO, and left. and started selling something else online instead. And I was like, okay, what else do I sell online? So I looked at financial markets and financial products because, again, one of the biggest industries in the country, but nobody was doing anything online. Everything was, this is 2016.
I see.
Everything was still traditional. You had to go to the banks to do everything. Mobile banking applications were just starting to come out and become prevalent. Most of the banks still had branches everywhere. Everything was still documented and papered. Insurance was one of those industries that was completely in the billions of dollars worth of valuation, but everything was done through agents and brokers.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? Let's try selling these products online. Again, no experience. Just picked up a product and said, let's try selling it online. Right. It worked though. We got fundraising as well, and we built that company. It was called Frank. Started in 2016, and by 2020, so within 5 years, we were doing almost 500 million baht in sales a year. So grew very, very fast, and we were doing 70% of our sales online end to end, which was something that the market had never seen before. And I was able to luckily exit that company to Boltech in 2020.
Nice.
Boltech, one of the largest Insurtechs in the world, acquired us. Back then, they didn't even have the name yet. It was actually part of the FWD group.
Right.
So they acquired us, stayed on with them for 2 more years, pivoted the model a little bit. They didn't particularly like the direct-to-consumer business. They wanted to do B2B2C, which is essentially driving traffic through partnerships, but going through the same journey to purchase. But instead of spending marketing my dollars on Facebook and Google, you spend the effort and time to close partnerships like True, DTAC, AIS, Samsung, Rabbit Line Pay. So telecoms, retailers, things like that. And I was able to close a lot of partnerships. I enjoyed that journey, but it was not my own company.
Right.
So I sort of felt like I want to do something on my own again. So I left and like a crazy person started another company. And that's where we are now, Eazy Digital.
Interesting. Yes, it's been quite a journey, and you've sort of the early days of e-commerce in Thailand, the rocket internet days were like this, the glory days of e-commerce in Thailand. So you've experienced that side of things. You've experienced fundraising, exits. I'm sure some successes and failures along the way. So you've been sort of one of dare I say the early movers in the Thai quote unquote startup space. So in those years, how have you seen the Thai startup ecosystem evolve? A lot of the guests that I speak to have kind of mixed feelings about it. The good part, just the quality of life in Thailand, they're always raving about. But the ecosystem in general, the general trend is that there's still a lot of room to grow. So is that the sentiment that you share, or have you had a different experience?
No, I definitely think there's a lot of room to grow. It's still very, very young. In fact, actually, I would say the startup scene in Thailand now is worse off than it was 10 years ago. Because back then, people were more daring. People were trying different things. There was a lot of different business models that were out there that people could innovate on or copy from overseas and dump into Thailand and try as well. Yes, it was primarily dominated by foreigners who were living in Thailand and saw opportunities in their home countries and started here. But even for locals, there were a lot of companies that started back in the day. And they were able to raise funding for it because, to be honest, the corporate venture side was not really there yet. A lot of the large corporations in Thailand were still not sucking up all the tech talent.
Right.
There was a lot more talent around for startups to rely on to grow.
Okay.
Now it's a little bit different. Now it's a lot of CVCs, a lot of corporations have built their own internal tech team, have done their own digital innovations, but all internally. And they hire people and they pull in people. And these would-be entrepreneurs who would have normally taken the risk to start their own business are now in cushy jobs in banks or in large conglomerates, family-run conglomerates, working in these organizations as entrepreneur in residence or BDs or developers or things like that. They pay well, they keep you well, and it's a good start, obviously. But what I felt in working 2 years in Boltech was that once you're part of that corporate cog and once you're in that wheelhouse, it's addictive. They pay you well.
Right.
There's pretty much no risk. Every month, at the end of the month, you're going to get your salary. And it's a soul drain though for me. I felt it was a soul drain. But you also felt being more reliant on that lifestyle of clocking in 9 to 5.
Right.
And I feel like most of the Thai market now has been trained in that cycle. So that's why I think it's worse off now than it was before. I think back in the day, but even before COVID, to be honest. And when I say entrepreneurship, you don't have to start a tech company, right? But you're talking about people starting restaurants, SMEs, trying opening up businesses and this and that. Like it's died down a lot.
That's an interesting perspective, because you're right. Just the aspect of sort of a lot of the quote unquote great talent now being stuck in corporates is something that I hadn't thought of, but now that you mention it, it makes obvious sense.
Actually, if you want to go on a tangent a little bit, COVID, right, was one of the biggest wealth transfers from the middle class to the rich. It drained resources completely. And all these entrepreneurs who were doing SMEs, who opened up restaurants, who opened up stalls, who were selling their own goods, manufacturing their own goods on Lazada, Shopee, lost a lot of their business and lost a lot of their cash reserves.
I see.
And a lot of them have reverted back to traditional corporate jobs. It's going to take a long time for these guys to be able to build up that buffer and come back and start businesses again.
Right. It's an interesting trend, but if I may sort of try to put a positive spin on it, sure. What do you think is changing or needs to change to sort of undo that transition? Or
Well, I think technology is definitely one of those things, right? It's become easier today to get things done than it ever has been in the past. Especially with AI, and especially with just information being readily available at your hands. It's both a good and bad thing. It's great because you're going into everything a lot more well-informed,
right.
But it's also bad because there's less information arbitrage, and people used to make money from arbitrage. Back in the day, you could be a trader living in China or working with China, and you make a crap load of money because nobody was able to go to China,
right?
Or nobody wanted to go to China. And now everyone can access it. Factories can access customers directly and sell retail, whereas before they were not able to do that. So it's a double-edged sword. But I still think because it's easier and cheaper to get things started and get things tested, it's a numbers game. You can try more things and see which one sticks. Whereas before, you'd have to spend a lot more of your capital, a lot more of your time on trying one or two things to see what worked.
Yeah, that's an interesting angle. But yeah, so I'm hoping that just fueled by technology, the landscape changes and goes back to, or maybe even surpasses what we refer to as the glory days. But yeah.
Well, I mean, the past is always the glory days, right? Nobody's ever look at the future and be like, tomorrow's going to be the glory day.
But the sentiment remains the same, right? There's still a lot of room for the Thai startup ecosystem to do better as a whole. So
massively, completely, yes.
Cool, perfect. So yeah, we'll maybe come back to that towards the end of our conversation. But switching gears here a little bit, so we've discussed the problems that you've tried to solve along the way. So starting with the pet foods to baby products, then to insurance. So can you talk a bit more about the problem you are solving now? So with Eazy Digital and how you encountered that problem and what you're doing with it.
Yeah, and funnily enough, when I started Eazy Digital, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So it started off as a consulting company. I was literally helping large corporations in insurance digitize.
I see.
And I was doing whatever they wanted me to do. They wanted me to help. Some of them wanted me to help rebrand and do internal operation audits. Some of them wanted me to help design entire direct-to-consumer workflows. Some wanted me to just coach their team members and things like that. So it was everything. It was a mixed mash of whatever the clients wanted me to do. It was consulting. So I was outside the organization in terms of hierarchy. I was not within the structure. I was able to have my own flexibility, my own work hours, my own times, but I was getting paid a decent amount of money from all these clients that I was consulting for. I knew though it was not going to be long term.
I see.
As most consulting projects, they last 6 months, 1 year, 2 years maybe. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to go hunting for new projects.
Right.
While that could have been good, I sort of felt that it was better if I had something in hand that was a physical, like an actual product that I could offer to clients. So that's when I started really, really thinking, what product can I build with the money that I'm making from consulting to actually solve a lot of their pain points that they're having? And that required me to actually listen to outside conversations while I was in those insurance companies doing consulting. And what I mean by that is like, let's say you're sitting at a round table having a conversation with the management team about the project that the boss wants you to work on. And after that conversation's over, everyone's going back to their daily jobs. They're going back and talking about what their problems actually are.
Right.
And sort of every time, all these companies always reverted back to agents and brokers, agents and brokers, agents and brokers. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Agents and brokers are like almost 60 to 70% of all insurance company sales performance.
Oh, so significant.
Significant. And still today significant, regardless of how digital we are. And this in the US, by the way, is still like 50%. So it's not like it's disappearing. It's because agents and brokers are able to get to communities or groups of people and provide them that trust factor that an online or a digital experience will not. They feel like an agent and broker feels like they're representing the client as opposed to representing the insurance company, right? You're fighting with the insurance company on behalf of your client, so to speak. You have that ally there with you. So that's why agents and brokers are still there. But most of the insurance companies, and I mean the biggest ones that you can think of, don't actually have platforms to provide these agents and brokers any tools to sell. And I look back at my own experience. When I was a broker at Frank, most insurance companies didn't give me any tool to help them sell their products. They just gave me a bunch of documents and PDF files and said, here are my products, go sell.
I see.
Like, that's it. It's like, back then you didn't think about it. Like, you're like, okay, great, I'm gonna go sell these. But now I'm like, I was hungry as a broker. So I was taking in all the products and putting in all the money and all the resources to try to sell those products. Majority of agents and brokers don't have the resources I did at Frank. How are they going to get trained on those products? What platforms are they going to get access to? How are they going to see their performance, their dashboards? How are they going to give a quotation? Like, they don't have a sales team like I did and things like that. So I was like, oh man. Then I started looking at the largest insurance companies in the world. AIA, Prudential, FWD, all these big guns. They spent millions and millions and millions of dollars building their own tools, internal tools to help agents and brokers sell.
I see.
So now when you meet an AIA agent, they'll come to you with an iPad.
Yes.
Yeah, and with that iPad, they'll be like, oh, okay, what's your information here? Keying all this stuff. Now, even though it's literally just a digital version of the paper form that you used to fill, that's all it is, but they spend millions of dollars building that. And then when I started speaking to my clients, like, do you guys have something like this? Would you have the budget to build something like that? They're like, no, we would love something like this, but no, we don't have the budget to do it. So we do everything manually. We give our agents an application form. They get the clients to fill it, and then they give it to us. And then we manually key it into our systems. And I'm like, geez. So like, there is a solution out there. The insurance companies, the big ones, have done it for themselves. They spend a lot of money on it. Maybe I can just go out and copy or get inspired by what the big guys have done for themselves, look at everyone's platforms and build something that I can sell to every insurance company that cannot afford those bills.
Yeah, just it adds up when you explain it.
Correct. Yeah. So that's what I did. I took the money that I was getting from consulting. I hired a bunch of outsourced developers, and I built the first version of the platform. And I went back to the insurance company that I was consulting for, and I was like, would you like this? And they're like, yes, here's $100,000. And I'm like, great. So I was like, oh, that's nice. That's great. It took the $100,000. And then I started investing more into the platform. And then I went to investors. And that's where the entrepreneurial stage come in, because I was like, could I have done it that way? Like in a very slow, manual way. But I'm like, no, I want to scale this. I want to be global.
Right.
I took the money, I took the resources that I had, I put it back into the platform, hired more developers to keep building it for the clients. And then I took the traction that I had and went to investors. And I was like, I have a product. It's an MVP, but I've already sold it to a client. They paid me $100,000 for it. I'm making money from other clients on consulting as well. I'm sure I'll be able to convert them to buy the platform as well. Would you invest in a platform like in a company like this? They're like, yeah, sure. Here's $700,000.
Right.
So I got, so that was my first check. I got $700,000 as an investment money, and one of the biggest investors of mine, Wavemaker, and then they got a whole bunch of other investors as well. And that's how Eazy Digital started. So now we are essentially building our own platform. It's our own sales platform that helps agents and brokers sell for insurance companies.
Awesome. So you went from, just in the Insurtech space, you went from B2B to B2B2C to now
B2B, enterprise B2B,
so
correct.
Completed the entire spectrum of...
an extreme mind shift, by the way. Direct to consumer and like doing B2B2C. You're seeing numbers come in on a daily basis, right? Especially on the direct to consumer side. You're getting thousands of orders a day. And like every tweak you make, every change you make, you see the results right away. You want to drive traffic, you go to Google, you go to Facebook, you go to TikTok, YouTube, etc. You can drive traffic to your site. B2B enterprise, my God, that is a whole different story. Trying to convince a large conglomerate to buy your platform that costs like $150,000 a year to use your platform. You're nobody, don't forget. Yes, you have the reputation in one country, but then try to sell this globally, it's a task. That's a story, another story on its own.
I can imagine. Yeah, just enterprise sales is a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's interesting to see that you've sort of covered the entire spectrum of Insurtech by now. And we'll get to your Insurtech experience in just a bit, but sticking with Eazy Digital and the two most popular letters in the English alphabet right now, AI. I mean, outside all the noise of, hey, every investor wants an AI to invest in an AI company, and every company wants to be an AI company to show that it's future-proof. So cutting through that noise, how do you see just AI tools, whether it's generative AI or any other ML sort of tools that are impacting your business right now or your clients right now, and how are you leveraging that to solve the problems that you mentioned?
You know, with AI, there's two layers to it, right? The first step is, I've been using it, since ChatGPT first version ever came out. That was for personal use. The second thing I started doing was making sure all my guys outside are using AI. And that we essentially invested the effort and time into giving these guys the tools so that I now have a team of 6 people building such an expensive, such a big platform, but they're doing the work of almost 12 people. So I was able to expand the output without having to increase the number of people doing it through AI, right? And there are multiple tools that I use because it's so fast, evolving so much. We have to keep pushing ourselves to try different things on a daily basis almost. Like every day I'll be like, okay, can we try Grok? Can we try Perplexity? Can we try Gemini? Can we try OpenAI? Can we try like Cursor, Lovable? There's so many tools on a daily basis. And like, it takes effort to try these things, to actually implement it, to try using, because you can't, in an hour, you're not going to be able to tell whether it's going to be useful to you or not. So it really does take a lot of effort and time to put into this, to try all these tools out. That's on the internal side. On the external side, my customers are the insurance companies. They love the concept of AI, but at the end of the day, they're still very large scale corporate insurance companies, enterprise level. For them, it's still a black box. It's still an unknown for them, like what they're going to use it for, how they're going to use it for. So they actually rely on me to tell them what to use AI for. Now, you might think it's fancy. You might think it's like the most like, whoa, we can use AI to create these sort of videos and load of images. That's great. A lot of personal retail people would use that. But for an operation like an insurance companies, for them, what excites them is, oh, you mean AI can read a document that I upload and pull out the information? Something OCR could have done in the past as well, but now AI can do a little bit cheaper, a little bit faster, and more flexible on the types of documents as well. But that's what they want to use AI for. And the reason they want to use AI for that is so that they can go tell their board of directors and their management team that we are AI enabled. So the purpose of using AI is also almost as a checkbox exercise right now for them. You have to remember, like, these buzzwords come like every 2-3 years, right? 6 years ago, I remember the buzzword was all cloud.
Yeah, and then there was...
Correct, and then it was blockchain, and now it's AI. Tomorrow it'll be quantum, right? And then beyond that will be like, God knows what. Exactly, but everything is like a thing. So now when you talk to an insurance company, like, most of them are still struggling to implement the first one, which is this cloud. So AI, like, to actually really, really implement it, I think we're like 6-7 years away from the insurance company side. But we are preparing for it already. The way I look at it right now is, how do I use the AI as a tool? It's a hammer at the end of the day. How do I use it as a tool to make the agents, who is the user of the platform, their job easier?
Makes sense.
So I use it mainly as a user interface. Because for me, I think that's powerful in AI. If you're talking to the system and asking it for stuff, it should be able to understand where to go to get you that information that you need right away. Instead of you searching for it, instead of you filtering for it, instead of you going and seeing dashboards manually, just ask it stuff. How's my sales performance yesterday? Do I have any customers who need renewals today? Do I have to follow up with anyone today? And the AI does that work for you.
Yeah.
So that is my way of implementing AI right now. Do I have users of it? No. Have the insurance company started using it yet? No. But I need to prepare because I know that in the future, it will get there eventually.
Yeah. And I think that's a healthy way to look at just the whole AI, like I said, craze right now, because like I said, the most immediate impact is internal when you can just have productivity gains, not just in your world, but in mine as well.
Yeah.
So that I completely relate with, but just making sure that you are being prepared for the future without sort of trying to oversell the AI aspect of it.
I mean, to be honest, our company doesn't have a lawyer. AI is our lawyer, right? Every contract we've ever drafted, every NDA, every proposal is done through AI, and it just gets better and better because we train on other documents, and the clients actually help with training as well. Because when we send a document to a client, when we send a contract to a client, the client's giving it to their legal department, who comes back with a whole bunch of comments and a whole bunch of adjustments and additions that they want to make. And I feed that back to the AI and say, okay, these are the changes. What do you think about it? Anything I should be aware of? Any red flags? What would you reword it differently for my context? Yeah, it helps me do that, but it's also helping me get it better. And something else I've realized as well, by the way, now, the amount of search going through AI, right? Before, everyone's default search was Google.
Right.
Now it's actually, it's not, I wouldn't say 50-50, let's say maybe 80-20.
True, but it's shifting.
But it's shifting, and it's shifting in such a fast pace.
Absolutely.
Another big thing that's really been coming up is now our ranking and our, like, getting AI to understand who we are and what we do so that we come up in search results.
Right.
When people are asking AI for, like, hey, who's good at, building platforms for Insurtechs?
Right.
How do you rank on that? Like, nobody knows yet. It's still a black box, but... True. We got lucky a couple of times, actually, believe it or not. This year we got 2 leads because AI recommended the client to reach out to, check out Eazy Digital as they have this, and this.
Yeah, that's a great story. And you're right, it's just, like I said, it's a black box, so you don't really know how it works. But I think good SEO practices in general, they add up because that's where the data is coming from, right? So if you have a good online presence in general,
I mean, I guess, but like,
it's just.
Or is it just us sending so much data to ChatGPT that we're training it to a level where it knows exactly who we are and what we do
and what to eat for lunch?
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
But it's good, and it will only keep changing and keep evolving. We're still very early days for the technology, so we'll see how that one goes. Now. In my circle, and I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of people in the startup scene here, is that you are one of the more prominent voices, not to again make you feel old, in the Insurtech space. So you've mentioned some of the problems that you've solved earlier and the problems that you're working on now. But what else do you see in the insurance/Insurtech space that you wish somebody out there comes and tackles? What basically gaps or challenges do you see?
Oh man, there's so many problems in the insurance space right now. But that's what every industry has its own problems, right? I mean, look at the banking industry right now. Like, some of them are like self-inflicted problems, like transferring 50,000 baht you got to scan your face for, stuff like that. It's really,
I was doing that in the lobby, right?
Correct. Not the easiest thing to do, but it is what it is. I would say for insurance, there are a lot of people solving a lot of problems. One of the biggest things is information is still not readily available to the insurer. Like, for example, in Southeast Asia, that's one of the biggest problems I see is no matter how healthy I am, no matter what I do to keep my healthy, or no matter how good of a driver I am, I'm not priced because of how good I am as a person. I'm priced because of the asset I'm underwriting. Right. And that includes my body as well. Mm-hmm. So they'll look at me as a 38-year-old male. They will not, and that's the underwriting criteria to give me a price and coverage. Right. They're not going to look at my cholesterol. They're not going to look at my blood test. They're not going to look at the fact that I exercise three times a week, that I walk 12,000 steps a day and stuff like that. None of that plays into the role of pricing.
Right.
You can buy a Honda Civic, but because the majority of the people who buy Honda Civics are new drivers, you're going to get priced accordingly under that criteria. Not because you're Mayank, you've been driving for 15 years, you're completely safe driver.
Right.
And you're driving a Honda Civic. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't come into play. And that's because information is still very segregated in the Asian market in general. It requires a massive shift and a push from the government side, not just from the insurer side, to actually make this information readily available. And once that becomes true, then you can start really getting the benefits of you as a personal, as a person, and getting underwritten for your risk, not just as an average of your entire pool, just because you're driving a car that is deemed risky.
Yeah, that's it. Kind of reminds me of a podcast I was listening to where they were talking about how Tesla handles their insurance and how they factor in driving data and stuff like that in premiums.
But again, Tesla only does their insurance in the US. And only for their own cars, right? It's also not even global yet. It's only like very particular in a few places.
Interesting. But it's good to see that there's at least one tech problem there's one approach to solving that problem, right? Very limited, obviously, in so many ways.
Yeah.
But it's a good perspective to have in terms.
You applied that logic to Thailand, for example.
Oh wow!
Like, are you a good driver or you're a bad driver if you overtake a motorcycle on the right lane or on the left lane? Like, like in Thailand, that is normal driving. Like if you don't drive that way, you're a bad driver.
Absolutely.
You get what I mean?
There's so much gray.
Correct. There is, those kind of. Are you a bad driver if you're following the speed limit of 80 kilometers on the highway? Like, who drives at 80 on a highway in Thailand? Like, you're the one that's slowing everyone else down. Exactly. It's dangerous, in fact.
So you're right. It's very difficult to quantify purely using technologies. Like you said, there's.
It's not easy. Yes, correct.
Got it. But yeah, maybe for your next venture.
Yeah. I'm hoping this is my retirement venture.
10 years later, you have another exit, and now you're.
That's true. It's fair enough.
But yeah, we'll have that conversation when we get to it. Okay. Now, just talking about. Your experience and how you share it, and obviously you've been generous with your time today, but in general, I see you very active on LinkedIn. I see your company page very active on LinkedIn, and I see you frequent events where you're an attendee speaker. Is that a conscious effort to your personal branding, and do you see any positive business outcomes to that whole exercise? Because I understand as a marketer that it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So can you just talk about my side of the world in your niche?
It's definitely a lot of work, and I go through phases of it. There'll be times when I post very often. There'll be times where I just don't go posting for like 2-3 weeks at all completely. Mm-hmm. It also depends on how much workload I have. When I do have the time and the capacity for it, I will do it. It's also about whether I have something worthy to share or not.
Right.
If I feel like I don't have anything worthy to share, then I won't. And when I have something that is like, actually share worthy, then I will make an effort to share it, because I do think if you can share something that helps other people, why not? It's not always about like vanity or anything like that. And a lot of it is, on LinkedIn, especially for me, it is a lot of personal branding, because I'm in B2B enterprise sales. A lot of my customers are there. A lot of the C-levels of insurance companies are there. Mm-hmm. I have to stay on top of it and be there so that they see me. And they see me sharing content that is relevant to what they might want to know or need to know about their industry. So I've literally picked a topic that I want to be known for in the industry, and that's insurance right now. Right. So when I'm posting, I try to post within that realm, and I try not to go beyond that.
Yeah, I think that's and just purely judging by the type of content you post, I see that you're following that.
It's either that, insurance, or entrepreneurship. That's about it. Yeah, entrepreneurship is purely on the branding side. That's like helping younger entrepreneurs, other people who are starting up businesses as well, so that they don't make the same mistakes I did. And honestly, waiting for other people's feedback as well, so I can learn from them.
Of course.
But on the insurance, it's literally either one of those two.
Makes sense. But you're right, especially in the B2B space and the very, very enterprise vertical you're in right now. LinkedIn, I believe, even in my experience, is the go-to platform.
Yeah.
So,
and it works. If you do it properly, it does work.
Right.
You do get recognized. You do get people reaching out to you. And when you do reach out to cold people, they've sort of seen you before. They heard of you before. So it's not always cold anyways. It's sort of been warmed up a little bit already.
True.
And that definitely does help. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. So I'm rooting for you to keep doing it.
Oh, no, thank you.
Now, You mentioned you mentioned the new generation of entrepreneurs, and we talked about just stuff that the Thai ecosystem can do in general. So, based on the wins and losses you've had so far, do you have any maybe one or two key learnings that you feel you'd like to share with somebody who's just starting or planning to start? Because that's a big part of our small but growing audience right now, whereas people on the brink of starting something or thinking about starting something or have just started something. So any words of wisdom that you have for our audience?
Look, I really do think you can be a lot more efficient in starting things. You don't have to jump all the way in fully. I started Eazy Digital while I was doing consulting company. I have two kids I have to take care of. All right. It's not that I can go without an income and just live on whatever I have in my bank account to sustain everything. And a lot of people are in that situation. So a lot of people will be like, yeah, he can say that because, he's already exited the company before, so he can start whatever he wants and stuff like that. Fair. You're right. To some extent, that is true. Doesn't mean you cannot start a business while working a job. I've known many people who worked in companies full time, but in all of their spare time, instead of spending it, watching football, playing games, or doom scrolling, correct. They are spending on building something on the side. Now, that pretty much means you can do it too. Even if you have to drop the full time of work down to like 80% capacity or 90% capacity, honestly, is your job going to suffer? Not really, because majority of the people who work, like, if you're entrepreneurial, I guarantee you in your office, in your daily job, you're probably more efficient and more your ability to work is probably higher than those who are just there for 9 to 5 already. So you can probably finish everything by 9 to 2, 9 to 3, and then spend the rest of the time working on what you want to work on and building that next idea, building that next business, taking the money you're earning there and investing into something else, not just spending it away.
Right.
So that mindset, that is one of the most important things that I wish more people were doing. Not just being happy and satisfied with what you're making and what you're doing then, but actually if you're really interested in being an entrepreneur, then actually putting that effort into it. Not going out with friends on a random weekday, but spending that time building something, going to events, speaking to people, getting ideas.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very sound advice. I mean, there's not too much downside to what you just mentioned. So it gives them the ability to, like you said, just try something, and with the barrier to entry now lower, like you said, with technology, I think. I
mean, look, you're in a prime example of that. It's a Friday afternoon, right? Like you could be just if you didn't have anything else to do, you could be just chilling, watching Netflix at home or whatever like that.
Absolutely.
But you spent your time outside of your work that you've already completed to come and try to build this channel up.
Absolutely.
And you're putting the effort into it.
Right.
And that's what entrepreneurs are supposed to do. That's what makes you supposed to be, you work that little bit extra. You put that little bit extra effort in there to get things done.
Makes sense. Yeah, thanks for that shout out. But yes, I see your point, and I hope a lot of the younger aspiring entrepreneurs in our audience are also listening. So thanks for that perspective.
The other advice I'd probably give is don't wait for someone to hand something out to you. Just go out and get it. That's the other thing as well. Like if you're just going to keep waiting for something to happen first, or if you keep putting those deadlines like, I will do this when this happens, or I'll do this only if this happens, that sort of thing, it's never going to happen.
Absolutely. And one thing that I learned, and I specifically want to point out from your earlier example, is that you already had, and the background on this comment is the fact that a lot of the early young entrepreneurs I meet, like, hey, I want to start something, but I'm looking for an investor. I want to start something, but I'm looking for an investor.
Oh yeah, that's
so.
On fundraising and investment right now is one of the hardest things you can do.
100%.
Even with my company right now, I have clients all over the world. Okay, in Brazil, Hong Kong, Singapore, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, and these are big insurance companies. Chubb, Tokyo Marine, Zurich Insurance, FWD, some of the largest insurance companies in the world, and we're making hundreds and thousands of dollars from them. We are still struggling to find investors right now.
I can imagine.
The investment market is a lot tougher. So you have to think from an investor perspective. You have to de-risk it for them as much as possible. So if you just go to them with a PowerPoint presentation that has been done half-assed over one afternoon, no way you're going to get any money from anyone ever. Gone are those days where people are just throwing money at you. That was like 15 years ago type of thing. Nobody does that anymore. People are a lot smarter than with the capital. Why? Because instead of investing in startups, now they can invest in the stock market or Nvidia and make like 20-30% in a couple of months.
Exactly.
Right. There's cryptocurrency, there's gold, there's so many other asset classes that are improving and growing like crazy. Why would they spend and risk money on a startup that can go to zero? And in fact, 99% of them do go to zero, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you have to de-risk it. And by de-risking it, what that means is actually get customers, actually get clients, actually build the product.
Right.
How I got funding for Eazy Digital when I started, I de-risked it for them already.
Yeah, you mentioned that you went to the investors after you had made the first sale.
I have to make the product. I already made the first sale. I already had revenues coming into the company. I already had other companies in the pipeline that I could sell to as well. So what are they buying into? Okay, he says he's an entrepreneur. Yes, that's there. Number one, he's experienced. Number two, he already has a team of people. Three, he's already built something. He already has revenue. And he was profitable at that time as well.
I see.
And he's got clients on the platform already. Right. That is all the de-risk. Like all those things help me reduce the risk for the investor to invest into my company.
Yeah, makes sense. And I hope that this is a point that we can drive home in this episode because I met a couple of people even very recently who were just stuck on the fact that they can't start their business because they don't have funding. So that's something that kind of bothers me because that should not. I know to scale sometimes you need funds, but you don't necessarily need funds to get from like 0 to 1 or 0 to half at least.
You don't. You need effort to get from 0 to 1. Right. And by the way, you can test out the basic version of your idea without having to build anything or expensive at all. True. When I first sold, before I even built the MVP, I just did prototypes and Figmas, which cost next to nothing.
Yeah. Now you can even do that on Love Day.
Correct. Unlovable will do it for you. Yeah. It costs nothing.
Right.
But there are like proper tools that you can use to help you sell.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thanks for sort of helping me emphasize my point. Now, for the last question of the day, Harprem, so we've talked about the stuff that you've done in the past. We've talked about what you're doing now. What's next? So what are the next goals you're chasing with Eazy Digital? Any new announcements around the corner that you'd like to share with us?
Well, we just closed a whole bunch of clients this year, so that's very exciting. And we are fundraising at the moment as well. We're about to close a really big deal, so fingers crossed on that. We're trying to close the year strong. And other than that is just focusing on building this company to be as big as it can possibly be. And for me, like even if I'm not able to get the funding, I have to figure out a way to make sure it works. I have to figure out a way to make sure it survives. So for me, I make sure that I do what my job in the company is, which is sales. So I focus on selling and I focus on meeting clients and I focus on trying to get as many deals as possible while my co-founders and everyone else takes care of all the technology and the operations, everything else on the side. Yeah, having a good team really is very, very helpful.
I cannot emphasize on that enough, but cool. So I think that brings us to the end of our conversation, Harprem, and I really appreciate, like I said, you've been a bucket list guest of mine, so I appreciate you taking the time.
Bucket list, you could have called me anytime. You have my number for years.
But most of our conversations have been on or around a basketball court, so it's finally good to talk about what you actually do for work. So
fair enough.
But it's been fun. I'm sure we'll have many more conversations online, offline, on the basketball court.
Yeah, I think up next you should be sitting here. I'll be sitting there, and I'll be asking you as a budding entrepreneur, what are you doing? What can you teach these guys?
Soon. Cool, but perfect. Any like parting words for our audience?
Just don't give up. There's no need to give up. You just need to try. I think fear of trying is probably the thing that stops people the most, or fear of failure. I think that's the best way to put it. What are you afraid of? Like, what if you fail? Who gives a shit if you fail? Nothing happens to you. No one's going to judge you for failing. Right. But what's going to happen 10 years, 15 years down the line is you're going to judge yourself for not trying.
That's a perfect way to end it. I couldn't have thought of a better message. So thank you everybody who tuned in. Thank you again, Harprem, for your time. Thanks to the team at Aya and Asia Beverages for your
This
gift.
is great, by the way.
I will
finish the whole thing.
I will relay that message to Kevin. And if you like the episode, make sure to subscribe and we'll see you in the next one.